about scales, right?
Yeah, we know it all.
Well, we're gonna build some seventh chords. First, can you tell me the order of whole steps and half steps in a major scale? We can imagine the white piano keys if you want. So starting on C, you can imagine that the white keys in the piano are just half steps and whole steps. The first one?
D.
Yeah, so C to D, and what's that distance?
That's a whole step.
Yep. And D to E,
Whole step.
and E to F,
Half.
that's a half step. Those two keys are right next to each other. F to G,
Whole.
G to A,
Whole.
A to V,
Whole.
and B to C.
Half.
Now I'm going to extend this backwards a little bit. You'll see why in a minute. So what can you tell me about what kinds of triads there are? What kinds of triads do you know?
Diminish.
Major.
Here's major,
Minor. And augmented.
yep, and there's also augmented. And now which of those triads, do you know which of them occur in a major scale? There's one that doesn't. There's one that's an odd one out.
The augmented.
Yeah.
Yep. So this exists in minor, but not in major. So seventh chords are built on something which you all know, which is triads. Plus, you add a third on top. And so you have a seventh chords because it's the interval of the whole thing is a seventh.
What do you mean by whole thing?
The interval of the whole chord from top to bottom.
Okay.
So I'm gonna write these in bass clef, everyone's favorite clef.
Yay.
Of course I'm projecting. So this is a major triad, but what if I add another note on top of this chord? So if this is a major triad, then what is this interval right here between G and B?
Major.
Yep. So we have a major third, a minor third, and a major third. And do you know what happens when you add those three interval sizes? What kind of seventh is that?
Major.
Yep. And this seventh chord, it's the biggest one that we have, basically, or the biggest one that's based on the major scale, because why are there not any bigger seventh chords that have a wider interval? Why is there not one with an augmented seventh? Why wouldn't you have an augmented seventh chord usually?
They would just double the root.
Yeah, and then you're right back where you started with just a major chord, or a major triad. And so what the major chord is, as you can see from is built on the first scale degree. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And this is a major 7. sing this with me?
Do, mi, sol, ti, sol, mi, do. Is that used a lot?
That one's actually not used very often.
Sounds kind of jazzy.
Yeah, it is, well, it is used pretty often in jazz, actually. You'll hear some jazz pieces end on it, but it's not, I mean, that's a very common in the jazz idiom, although if you're doing things from the classical music common practice period, you won't see it very often, or at least not as often as the minor and dominant seventh chords. Or no, the dominant seven is the most common seventh chord that we see.
What is a minor seventh chord?
That is, a minor seventh chord has, instead of a, we can build one on the second scale degree of a major scale. And so a minor triad, what does that have on the bottom?
Minor third.
And in the top of the triad?
Major third.
Major third.
And what's in a minor seventh chord has a minor third on top of that one. And so the distance, so you'll notice that there's one difference between the major and minor seventh chord here, or one difference in the intervals, and that leaves it as a minor seventh, the total distance. So here's a major seventh again. And then starting on re, on the second note of the scale. And let's sing that one together.
Re, fa, la, do, la, fa, re.
And it also exists on the third scale degree. And let's sing that one.
Mi, sol, ti, re, ti, sol, mi.
And so here, D, F, A, C. That is our, I don't want to get too confusing here.
So that's where the chords are found in the major, the seventh chords are found in the major scale, right? That's what you, okay, I get it.
And another important one is, I'm gonna cram in here. seven. And that starts on the fifth scale degree. And it actually has the same, distance from top to bottom as the minor seventh.
Why is it called something different?
Well, because with the intervals being a different order, it gives the chord a different personality. We have a major third on the bottom, minor third in the middle, and another minor third.
Is that the only place that's found, that one? Built on the fifth scale degree?
Yeah, in general, in a major scale, that's the only place where that one is found. And that is part of what gives it its important harmonic pull is, whereas with minor, a minor seventh chord could be either 2, 3, or 6, but a dominant seven is only going to be this fifth scale degree unless you've done some kind of funky alterations to it. And it's also one that you can, it's also the first one to appear in the harmonic series on the string of the cello.
Hmm.
And it's, well, first I'll play it for you low and then high. It makes you want to go, do, mi, so, mi, do, because it has that pull to it. And here's one based on A to show you the harmonics. And what do you notice about the top note of that?
It's 33 cents flat.
You have some knowledge there. Yeah, it is flat, and it's not just me. When it appears in the natural harmonic series, that note is going to be flat, but we tend to like to play it more pleasingly to our ears